Something that I believe will make a lot of people's lives a whole lot better is when you just stop misdefining words and start to place your own definition on them that instead of demoralizing you, it actually empowers you. Because a lot of the definitions that we've been told to words are meant to purposely psychologically manipulate us to believe that we are not worthy, that we cannot overcome something, or that we should be acting in a way that is against what our conscience tells us. The way that I define words is I take a lot of responsibility for every single thing that I do. And a lot of the ways that I define words are extremely hard on myself. And I've conditioned myself to accept these new definitions on words as truth. So because I've lived by these new definitions that I've placed on the words, and I've been extremely hard on myself for so long, these beliefs have been instilled and wired into my subconscious mind where it's really, really difficult for me to break them. And all I did was just change the way that I define things and change the quotes that I live by, right? Because a lot of us, we're raised in a society, we're raised in a system that first of all tells us to operate based off of our feelings. And that gets to my first definition of words, which is discipline. Everyone knows what discipline is. Everyone has heard of discipline. Whenever, one of the most cliche motivational quote of all time is, it's not motivation, it's discipline. Every single person in the world has heard this. But no, not many people live by it because people think of discipline as something that's negotiable, something that you can negotiate with. They think of discipline as something that you just turn off and on. They think of discipline as something that you're born with or not born with. That's how a lot of you guys have been conditioned or raised to believe, and you really live by that belief. But instead, one day I just said that if I'm not disciplined, I'm a bitch. What if you just did that? And what if you really instilled self-talk into your head to make you truly believe that? Because you are the sum of your beliefs and you are the sum of your self-talk. And one day I just said, if I'm not disciplined, I'm a bitch. The reason that I said that is because when you're trying to pursue something, when you're trying to accomplish something, it's going to be difficult. If the end outcome that you're going for is something that is worth having, anything worth having is worth working for, and anything worth working for is going to be difficult. And guess what? You have to be disciplined to get to that end result because anything that's difficult, you're going to have to face adversity. You're going to have to face roadblocks along the way because you're going to have to prove to the universe that you're worthy of this end outcome. Now, someone who operates based off their feelings, when things get difficult, they lay down. They get a little bit extra sleep because they're tired. They take a day off. They feel like not doing it anymore. And when you just operate based off your feelings, I know someone who operates based on their feelings will not make it because first of all, I've had the belief instilled into me by mentors, but also now that I've been on this journey for a pretty good amount of time and I've really recognized and experienced how difficult it is, very, very difficult, I understand that anybody who's on this journey, you have to be disciplined. A lot of you guys you don't have a motivation problem, you don't have a consistency problem, you don't have a knowledge problem, you have a discipline problem. You have an inability to do what you say you're going to do. And like I said, imagine not being able to do what you say you're gonna do. I thought that was bitch made. Because guess what? I used to be the exact same way. I used to say I was gonna do something, I did it for a little bit, I didn't follow through, I didn't finish the job. I told myself, sometimes I wouldn't even say it out loud, I would tell myself that I'm gonna do something, and I don't follow through. And I believe that is bitch made as fuck. And I believe I used to be bitch made as fuck. And you know what? When I post this, a lot of people don't like this. A lot of people, it's too difficult on them. It's too much truth. It's too much truth. That's all it really is. And you know what? These are the beliefs that have worked for me. And that takes me to the next point, which is that why do you think that you have to judge the way that someone else thinks when they are just trying to operate in a better, more positive way? Some ways of motivation is going to work differently for other people. You might not like the hard truth. You might like it really, really easy on you. You might like things sugar-coated, or you might think you like them. But what the part that really likes that sugar-coated shit is that soft individual inside you that has been molded by society. Society doesn't like truth anymore. You have to understand why. If you are an individual who doesn't like the truth and who gets very offended when they're called a bitch, when they're called a motherfucker, when they're called lazy, when they're called a loser, if you're someone who gets really, really offended by that, think where that comes from. Try to really pinpoint where that comes from, because a lot of times it comes from the entitled individual inside of us that has been molded by the system that we live in. Because we're not supposed to have things sugar-coated. We're supposed to be told the truth. Because love ain't lies. Love will never be lies. But a lot of us just want to be lied to. When I say us, I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about you. A lot of you guys want to be lied to. But when are you going to grow up and come to the point where you don't want to be lied to anymore? You don't want to be accommodated for your shortcomings. You don't want to force your people to lie to you, and you just want to start showing up. Because you have to understand that when you force your people to lie to you, let's just say that you're extremely out of shape. You are extremely out of shape. You've been telling your people that you're going to get in shape for a long time. You've been telling your people, it could be your friends, it could be your family, it could be your boyfriend, your girlfriend. You've been telling them for a long ass time that you're going to start getting the job done. You're going to start getting in shape. And then you do it for like 2 weeks. You know, your people are like, oh, you're doing so well, good job. Like, and then you quit. And they have to tell you like, oh, it's okay, you know, you're doing good, or you're gonna get back to it, when they don't believe that. The reason that they don't believe that is because you don't believe that. This is the 4th fucking time you've started your fitness journey and haven't followed through. So guess what? You're not gonna believe that you're gonna do it for a 5th time. You don't believe you're gonna get it done because you've already started and quit so many times. You know you don't believe it because you've conditioned yourself to think that way. But if you really buckled down and told yourself that I'm going to be disciplined, I'm going to get the job done no matter what, I'm not going to operate based off my feelings anymore. If you made that commitment and really followed through, and then you started to do it for a long period of time, and doing it for that long period of time created a belief, created a self-belief. So now that you have that self-belief in yourself, other people are going to start to believe in you. You're going to have more support. You're going to feel more loved. You're going to have stronger relationships. And that's how this shit is built. When you take the responsibility, when you start to act from the place of discipline, when you stop acting based off your feelings and you start really following through on what you say you're going to do, that's when everything starts to improve. That's when you start to feel fulfilled. But remember, just think about why you think of discipline the way that you do right now, and where that's been molded from, and how you're going to have to change your beliefs for the future if you want to really become a bigger, better individual. The next definition that I changed is very, very simple ones. Faith, which I just think of faith as acting in the moment, absence of fear. Acting in a place that is absent from fear. Now, it's almost, all of us have to experience fear at some places because we're humans. But you have to be able to quickly shift your mindset from a place of fear to faith. Faith that no matter what you do, whether you get your outcome or not, the process and the work that you put into it is going to be worth it. The work that you put in is going to get you a result, whether it's the result that you were looking for or not. You're going to learn something from it, and then it's going to, no matter what, get you one step closer to the goal. Having faith that everything that you do that is geared towards progress will get you one step closer to that destiny. And whenever you act from a place of fear, understand that the only reason that you're in a place of fear is because faith is absent. So guess what? To get that faith back, you need to start acting on something that's going to get you closer to your destiny. So then you're going to leave the mindset, you're going to leave the fear mindset, you're going to leave the mindset that created the fear, and you're going to hop into this new mindset that operates based off faith. It's just thinking of fear and faith as a thing that happens from moment to moment was so impactful, because a lot of times we think of these things as, you know, something like fear, something like faith, something like discipline. Discipline's a perfect example too. We think of it as just something that we always have or we always don't have, when in reality it's just something that we have for a moment. We have to string together a bunch of discipline moments, a bunch of faith moments, right? A bunch of consistent moments, a bunch of determined and positive moments. Positive moments. Everything is in terms of moments. And if we can string together enough of these moments, we're going to start to think of ourselves as a disciplined individual overall, a positive individual overall, a faith-driven person overall, right? But it has to be you have to string together a bunch of moments before you can think of yourself like that. You can think of yourself as having it as a personality trait or as a character trait, right? And then when you start to believe that you have it as a character trait, other people are going to see it in you. And like I said, when you really know, that's when you start to really know your identity, and that's when you start to create a circle that is built around this new identity that you've created. Now, I don't even know how long this video is. I feel like I've been talking for a whole long time, but yeah, discipline, definition of discipline, that's why I really touched on today. Faith, I love you guys, man. Hope you have an amazing Tuesday. Keep working.